Hello and welcome back to the Remake Hot Take podcast, where we play studio executives pitching new ideas of famous media. I'm Marriya Schwarz.
And I'm Brooke Rees, and today we're here with an extra special guest, one of my friends, McKaylah. She is here to talk about Stranger Things with us. She is equally, or even maybe more, so obsessed than we are. But McKaylah and I have been friends since like late junior high, high school. I've known each other for quite a long time. And she wanted to hop on the pod. But McKaylah, anything else for an intro for you, or what's your level of obsession with Stranger Things? How come you wanted to hop on today?
If it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's an 11.
That was good.
There it is, folks. McKaylah is actually going to be replacing me on the pod.
We're doing a Jeopardy thing.
Yeah,
We're doing different host testing.
Trying out different hosts. McKaylah has just won. I will be seeing myself out shortly. but yeah, so great to have you here today. I'm excited.
Yay!
Very excited. I'm found a very deep obsession with this show, and I'm just glad other people are equally obsessed, if not more or less. Like, I don't think I've met someone who's like hated it, but someone like they either love it, but I don't think I've ever met someone who's hated it. So
yeah, that's true. Our one friend Courtney, she's just too scared to watch it. That's like, I feel like that's the only other thing. You either love it or you're like too scared to even dive into it. But you know what? It's interesting. I feel like I like don't remember there being this amount of like social media, like memes or TikToks or anything like while watching like the other seasons. Like maybe I just like wasn't in the right.
TikTok? Was TikTok a thing last season?
I think TikTok was like 2020 is when people started using it, but I haven't started using it until like last year. So I wonder if that's like the main reason that it's become like such a big thing on social media. But I guess I wasn't really big on Twitter either, but it's the first time that, and then splitting it up into the different volumes, I feel like it's the first time I've had so many like other people on social media or like in my friend group like talking about it. Like I don't remember watching it like with people for like the first season or the second season. I think I came in maybe a little bit late, but yeah, it's really interesting to see this like phenomenon, even though it was, you know, it's been like 5 years or whatever since it happened. But yeah,
and it's like consistently good. Like it's, you know, the meme where it's like a picture of each season and then underneath of it it's got like the drawing of the horse.
Yeah.
And then it like progressively gets better, and it's just like it's so satisfying as someone who's been like watching it since the start, when because I remember when it first came out and you had like literally no idea what it was. And I think it was like, I just remember it being winter, and I think I can't remember exactly. I just know it was cold. And we watched it and like we were immediately hooked, because I think I still lived with my parents and like had never heard of it, had no idea of like the marketing around it, nothing. And like I'm just so impressed with how far something so small has become. It's awesome.
Yeah. McKaylah, real quick, do you want to give your like first impressions or overall thoughts on volume 1, so the first part of this season, real quick? Because this is like a part 2 for our Stranger Things episode. We did kind of overall thoughts and predictions for what was going to happen in our last episode. Do you want to give like a brief like kind of overall thing of how you thought the first part went, and then we can kind of dive into how we thought volume 2 was?
I mean, yeah. So like overall, like I knew coming into it I was just gonna love it immediately, and I knew that given the time they had with COVID and everything, that they were really gonna put a lot of effort into it, and they just absolutely killed it. They smashed it out of the park. And I just, you know, I was a little apprehensive about all of the split storylines, but I found myself like equally invested in each of them. So that was like another thing that they did really well. So, you know, it's sometimes really hard to like explore all of the different storylines, but I didn't have a hard time keeping track of everything. And I think overall just a really great volume 1, and you know, I just want more, and I want it right now.
I know. What is it? It's coming out in 2024 or something.
I think another
That's
2
what
years.
David Harbour was thinking. Yeah.
Okay, and then another real quick, who are your like favorite characters of, I guess, this season or in general? Who did you like want to shout out? Because I know you were like texting when you like first started the episodes that you were like a little apprehensive because we did get a lot of like new character intros with like the California crew being at that other place and that fucking bitch Angela at Elle's new school. So did you have any favorites or arch nemesis overall, or at least in this season?
Angela should have gotten cracked about 4 more times in the head with that roller skate.
I know. I'm glad we can agree.
I think like definitely one of my favorites, especially this season, has been Max. She just ran with the show. Like she was incredible this season. I fell in love with Eddie. I feel like everyone kind of did. And if you haven't, then I mean, like, what's wrong with you?
Okay, so I will be a little controversial later.
Yeah, I feel like it's still coming for you. I don't know.
Because and you've been like super positive, McKaylah. I will crush your soul apparently, because I think Marriya, I think you have maybe some negative thoughts on this season on how it ended.
Only on volume 2.
Okay, only on volume 2. So I think we're gonna have like a really good array here of thoughts on the overall season. But so you really like Max, and then
Max, Eddie. Lucas I was kind of like really disappointed by his choice to like try and be popular.
Yeah.
But then like that redemption with Jason like totally won me back. I feel like all of the characters, I mean, Mike's kind of just whatever at this point. I don't really
yeah.
But like I feel like everyone else, I just, I really enjoy. Jonathan is also kind of like, I used to really love Jonathan. Like, oh, I loved his character so much. And it was just such a random, out there thing. But I think everyone is just so well written. But I'm getting to the kind of point where like, I know there was an article where Millie Bobby Brown was just like, yeah, we need to start killing some characters. And I'm just like,
no,
you, sis.
Yeah, that's why I think that's what Marriya and I were going to touch on too, is that I guess we can maybe jump into our thoughts on volume 2 now. I would say my overarching issue, I think maybe in just how they did this release, like I get why they split it volume 1, volume 2. I feel like volume 1, like I kind of forgot what happened already. Like after volume 2, like there's definitely such a shift, and they definitely had those like really big, like almost 2 hour episodes. So I get why they did do the like staggered release. And from like a marketing point of view, it's probably, it's hard for these shows that are released on Netflix like all at once because they get binge watched, and then you don't have people talking about it for a long time. So I'm sure it was a strategic thing marketing wise too, to kind of stagger it out. But because we have this like huge social media thing, at least for me, like, and it sounds like for you guys too, like my feed is almost like entirely just Stranger Things. I think my problem is that I was seeing so many like fan theories and guesses, and like we did like the Deadpool, like all of us were guessing who was going to die, and people were like picking apart interviews with the Duffer Brothers and everything about like how many characters there was going to be, stuff like that. I think my expectations for like some of the fan theories that I read were like better than what actually happened. And I think I talked about it in the last episode. I kind of made a distinction between like who I thought was going to die based on what they've done in the past, which has been introduce a new character and kill them off immediately. And I think that's worked for, Bob and for Bob and Billy and Alexi or whatever. But I think they can't keep doing that. Not just that like we get angry at them for killing off them, but I thought that they were going to make like a big like power move. And I don't know if they're just like holding that off for season 5, because, they're saying that this was the beginning of the end, I think was like their tagline for this season. So I don't know if they're just like reserving off their big kills, but I was like a little bit let down with what we like ended up with. And we don't know Max's fate for sure, but I feel like she's gonna pull through, but like we're unsure on that one. But I felt overall, I was like, oh, come on, like you gotta like pull your punches, like you gotta go for it. if you're gonna like hype it up like this and you're gonna do the staggered release, again, it may not be their fault because everything that I was seeing was, you know, stuff on social media for who we thought or like was worried about was gonna die. And then I was just like, oh, okay, it wasn't as serious as I thought it was gonna be. But I really, you know, I would be upset if we lost like a main character, but I think they need to start making those decisions, like you said, that Millie Bobby Brown said in an interview, to like really stick with it. So that was kind of my overarching opinion on volume 2. Marriya or McKaylah, did anyone?
Yeah. I will say that the decision to split up volume 1 and volume 2 was purely production related. Like it wasn't to raise interest. And I think that did work against them because like you said, like I did really like a lot of the theories and stuff. And like, you know, we were all wondering certain things that just like weren't discussed in volume 2. And I think we just had so much time to sit with that.
So you said it was production. So were they not like ready? Were they still,
I think
like,
they weren't ready.
Okay.
Yeah. And then and they won't be doing that for season 5 because they've like made a statement that they really want to go with the binge model. But I will say that season 5, what we know right now is that they're not introducing any new characters. So someone's gonna go.
Good.
I kind of have this idea that like I really, and this kind of is a little bit of a backtrack, but I think Hopper should have died. It kind of like, to me, I love Hopper, but like it takes away a lot of like that emotion in that letter to Elle, and I'm just like, and then he comes back and it was just like, I love the reunion, but I think you were a driving force, like a big motivation to her, and I think if you were dead it would have kind of helped her a little bit more. But like I love Hopper, but that's one guy that I was like, you should have just stayed dead. Like they should have went in that direction.
Yeah, it's like that thing. I think in general, people don't like when writers make like big decisions and then somewhat like backtrack them. Like, you know, it loses its like weight when it's like those movies where like you have this like a crazy dramatic like emotional scene and then at the end it was like, and it was all a dream and like it all rewinds. So I mean, I was happy to see Hopper back, and we kind of knew like pretty quickly because they had like teased at the end of like whatever, and then in another trailer that it was like the American in the Russian prison. So like we knew it was coming, but I just like looking at Hopper. So I'm like, I'm just so happy that he's around.
He's a little young for you, isn't he?
Yeah, I could go up in age a little bit more.
I just like that they were like, oh, we could either kill him or make him ripped.
Yeah,
they were like, go with that one.
He's either dead or he has abs.
Yeah.
The other bitch. And I'm like, okay. Me and Joyce know the answer to that question. But it's interesting, McKaylah, that you said that you liked their reunion, because that was one that I agreed with people that I saw on social media that they were like, that felt so anticlimactic. Like Elle wasn't even like sobbing or whatever. She was just like, I always knew. And I was like, did you made your diorama about your dead dad? I was like, I feel like you didn't know. But yeah, I thought their meeting was kind of anticlimactic. And I was like, oh, okay, that's it then. But what were you saying?
Like it would have been disappointing if like she had her powers and she could like put on her bandana and just find him immediately. Like I feel like it's good that she had other things to distract her, so she's not just like FaceTiming new daddy. I think that would have been more anticlimactic. But let's talk about like get really deep into these deaths. Personally, I would be okay if Eddie Munson came back just because I love him.
He's going to, because I was actually talking to my friend about this. And did it not feel so rushed and so weird that they didn't like, the only person who acknowledged him being dead was Dustin.
And that felt like such an afterthought. It was like 2 days later, oh, Eddie's uncle, well, I got you here. By the way, he's dead.
I know, it totally felt like if he hadn't have been like right there, Eddie's uncle would have been just searching forever. They like 10 years go by, they're like, oh my God, like we totally forgot to tell you.
But for some reason we had time for Steve Harrington's backwards crawl. Like I just ugh. Okay, anyway. So let's talk about like our predictions. Obviously a lot has happened in the world of Stranger Things since we last talked on the pod, as well as like our world. Like the last time that Brooke and I talked on this podcast, we had rights as women. Like that's pretty exciting. I think it's also devastating that I made a Roe v. Wade pitch last time and then we lost it. But first off, congrats to Brooke, because last time you were most worried about Steve and Hopper and you specifically didn't care about Eddie. So you were the true winner.
I specifically did not give a shit about Eddie Munson. I was like, I don't care what happens. I just need Hopper and Steve to stay alive. So yeah, I guess. And that's like that. I am for sure in the minority. Like everyone loves Eddie, and you guys can talk about your love of him and the character and Marriya, the actor, Joseph Quinn in a second. But I don't know. Like, I think I'm just like, McKaylah can testify to the fact that I was like a goody in high school, and his intro, for some reason, I was like, this man sells drugs. I was like, I can't get past that. I was like, he does not prioritize his academics. He was like stressing me out. I was like, oh my God. I was like, has he even taken the SATs? Like, what is his standing? Is it the ACT? I'm like, I would just say that I would probably not be friends with Eddie if we were in high school. I would probably be a little judgmental of him. I'm just gonna say that. So because
We're
that was
definitely in Nancy's crowd.
I'm definitely Nancy, and like his relationship with the other characters, I initially am like, what's going on here? You're like 25. You look like you're 45.
No. Also,
Eddie?
this is what she said last time. She was like, I was like, who is this 40-year-old man? And I was like, he's 29. But he said in an interview that he swore off pizza and beer the entire filming so that he could look younger. We love Joe Quinn.
What were you gonna say?
No, I actually think he was one of the ones who actually looked like almost age appropriate. He looks older when he's got like the regular, like his regular hair, but when he's got the wig on, I feel like it brings him down. But I thought he was actually like more age appropriate than like everyone else.
I don't know why,
like in the main cast.
Yeah, I look at that man and I think that he needs to sign up for Medicare. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know. So anyways.
Thank you, McKaylah. I have an ally now because
welcome. You need one.
When you're hot, age doesn't matter.
I don't know. I mean, so anyways, my very controversial take, and I will not get support for it. But yeah, that was his intro, and I like just couldn't get over it. And I'm obviously like sympathetic, and I like Joseph Quinn. I thought he did an amazing job in the performance. And of course I love his and Dustin's relationship. Like I thought that was like really well played out, and I loved like all of their interactions, and I definitely like started to warm up to him and was a sympathetic character. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I feel like he's gonna get killed off. Like I am not as emotionally invested in him as I am in the other characters. So I was like at peace with it. Also, there was like, as we said before, there was like a lot going on. Like I feel like Eddie didn't have like as much screen time as other people, so his death seemed kind of imminent like from the beginning. I feel like Alexi's, I thought like came out of nowhere and actually made me like a little sadder versus where Eddie's, I think how they handled it, which is maybe like why we think or like can theorize that he's coming back. His was stupid to me. I was like, this makes no sense. Like you said, it felt rushed. Mm-hmm. And I was like, the plot doesn't make sense right now. I'm like, why is he doing this? Like they're already inside the house. Like the bats are like just going around. Like, you don't have to do this. It just felt like a sacrifice to make him a hero that was not needed. I was like, no, you can stay safe, Eddie. Like, don't do this. It doesn't make sense for you to die. But yeah, so you guys talk about how much you love him and what you were like thinking about his deaths?
I know that like the death, like I didn't see it coming because I thought like he was such like, and they said in interviews too, they didn't expect him to get as much love as he's getting. So I think that's why, like, I don't think he's dead because of that fact. Like, I don't know, it just felt wrong to me and I wasn't expecting it. And so when it happened, like, I knew as soon as he left that like trailer mobile home, I was just like, well, you just killed yourself. Good job. You played that guitar for no reason. And you know what? I'm unhappy with you. But his death felt largely overshadowed by Max's. Like that was like a drop in the bucket compared to Max because like, oh, that like anytime I think of it, literally just rips my heart right out of my chest. Like I remember watching it and I was like, I had to stop. And I was like, like the worst, like ugly crying. I had to go talk to my boyfriend. I was just like, I have to take a break. I can't watch it right now. Like just bawling. It was terrible. But Eddie, I love Eddie.
Aw, okay.
R.I.P. I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence between whether I think he's coming back or whether I think that the Duffer Brothers just didn't care at all about him. Which I don't know. I mean, like the Duffer Brothers forgot Will's birthday. Like I wouldn't put it like past them just to like not give a crap about this character because I honestly felt like it was a little weird that he was named as a main character and Joseph Quinn's name was never on like the beginning intros. Like when Sean Astin died in the show, that was the first time his name was ever in the intros. And so I thought like when I didn't see Joseph Quinn's name, I was like, maybe like he's fine. So I just don't know if they like didn't care. But I think it's just it's sad, like especially then watching like the interviews later, like Joe Quinn said that he thought if he worked hard, maybe they would bring him back. And like I guess that didn't happen. And he said that he was really like gutted to leave and he would want to come back and like even like a Force ghost Dustin kind of thing. But yeah, he said that he had like after filming that, he said he had a shot of tequila and went to cry his eyes out. So and that just makes me really sad. But yeah, I just thought it was just so weird. And I didn't know. So I would love to hear your guys' take on this. Like, was the sacrifice for Dustin? Like, were the bats gonna come into like the real world? Like, I couldn't tell why he did the whole thing. Or like even just like radio in like, hey guys, do you need me to like chase away these bats or is this completely useless?
Yeah, that's why one of my like remakes, I was like, I can't fully remember how involved Erica was in the plan making. I feel like the older kids kind of took a hold there. And I think they should be fired. I was like, the whole plan, I was like, I feel like we put Erica in charge. That did not happen. I feel like we're on time. Vecna was killed immediately if Erica was solely in charge of making this. But that's why I was like, it didn't make any sense because Dustin was already back into the other, like, to the real world.
And Eddie was climbing, wasn't he? He was climbing up the rope.
Eddie was right there. And then but like even if he was trying to give them more time, they're like they were already in the house, they had like all the weapons that they needed, and I was like that it just didn't make any sense. So I don't know, but Marriya, did we want to like talk about what we were right with our death predictions
so our first one we had was Joyce. We both said no. I said 90% chance of survival. You said 92% chance of survival. So you win that one. I said that we were going to leave the Byers family alone, which I think basically happened. We basically just like kept them off the show, essentially. Yep. Does anyone think that Joyce deserved to die?
No.
Joyce has been through a lot.
Yeah, been through too much. She is a frazzled mom. She deserves love and support.
Now we had Hopper, who Brooke thought was definitely going to die. So you gave him a 43% chance of survival. I said 50% because I was like wavering back and forth, but I mean, it's nice that stepdaddy is here to stay and regular daddy is gone.
Yeah, Brenner's death. But I will say I do appreciate the abs, but I retweeted like a pic of Hopper like fresh out of the shower in like season 3 or whatever with the Hawaiian shirt. We lost a dad bod. We lost a dad bod that day, and I am sad about it. I was like, I miss this version of Hopper. Not to mention like the PTSD, I don't know, that he's gonna come back with. I was like, yeah, he has abs, but at what cost?
I feel like, knowing Stranger Things, we're gonna have a funeral for Hopper's dad bod over like Eddie. Like they're gonna make a bigger deal out of that.
We did not lose a dad, but we did lose a dad bod. Rest in peace.
And then Dimitri. I said 5% chance of survival. Brooke said 17%. But I did read an interview with the Duffer Brothers that in an earlier script, he did die. And you know what line I bet he said was, tell Mikhail what his father has done. That was what I thought he was going to go out on. I mean, we still don't really know what happened to him. I thought that was so weird that we have like this 2-hour, 15-minute episode, and like they used it to talk about Steve Harrington's like crawling as a baby. I don't know. I thought that was strange.
But also Steve wants like 6 kids and I want 5. So I think we can compromise.
Or adopt one.
Yeah, adopt one, that extra one. But yeah, that's something that was on my list of like, what the fuck? Because they make like such a big deal out of, first of all, out of
the nuggets, his 6 little nuggets.
6 little nuggets, yes. My nuggets are shared.
Our nuggets.
Our
3 and 3, there you go.
But we make such a big deal out of like Yuri being like a not curable asshole, and like Enzo's literally just, he's like, hey, have you thought about not being a jerk? And Yuri's like, actually, no, I haven't. Like, let me put this bolt back on. I was like, that was so fucking easy. I was like, did it just take like one Russian man to another to see out these like differences? But we make such a big deal about like the journey to Russia, and obviously like this character Dimitri / Enzo, and then they just pop up. They gave us the 2 days later SpongeBob effect, and I was like, what the hell? We missed out so much. But yeah, I for sure thought Enzo was gonna die as well. Maybe
and I was confused why there weren't any like consequences. Like they're escaping to America, but like they both have families. So I was like, what is like, I don't know. I just felt like that was so rushed to over, and I just thought the whole thing was like a little weird. I also didn't care about Yuri at all. So I was like, why are we spending time with this man? And then we had Mike. Brooke thought they weren't killing off any of the kids.
Psych.
Well, we don't know about Max.
She's
I feel
100% dead. She's
you
dead.
Think so? I
she
think
is
brain
dead.
The Duffer Brothers did say that she is brain dead and blind. So even if she lived, I don't know about quality of life. Like, honestly, I just feel like she's out of this. She's not making that movie. Like, it's not happening.
And how does Elle, like, how does she have the ability to like resurrect someone? Because she was dead. She was gone. And then out of nowhere, like Elle saves her with, she's got telepathy. That's what she's got. She's not freaking God.
Maybe she's like heartbeat. Like, I don't know.
I'm sorry. She is also CPR certified. So please give her credit where credit's due. But I guess, well, if we want to talk about that, I was not under that impression. Okay, I will say real quick, I don't know what has happened to my ability to like pay attention, but I was fully engrossed in that in the last episode. And there were 2 things that apparently I did not understand. One is that Max is potentially dead. I was like, oh, she's resting. Like we're gonna find her. Like we'll find her eventually. And the second one was that the very important reveal is that Vecna is the one that like took over like the mind flayer and that he shaped it into that figure, that escaped me. Like I literally watched that scene and I still was like under the impression that he was like the mind flayer's like second in command or something.
Yeah,
And then they show that like scene was him as a little boy like drawing out the mind flayer, and I was like, oh my god, I was like, he's been seeing the mind flayer since he was little. I was like, what is
That's
this?
what I thought too.
Okay, good, McKaylah, because that is exactly what I thought. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. I was like, the mind flayer has been like possessing him since he was little. Like maybe he wasn't even responsible for his actions. I don't know. And then I Googled it. I was like, what does because like no one was talking about it on Twitter. And I Googled it and I read an article and it was like, no, it was like Vecna was in the Upside Down. There were like these shapeless particles that were like the mind flayer and he took them over. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was a large plot hole that I completely missed. So
They explained it, but they explained it in a way where you really had to like piece it together, or like I had to watch a video. I was watching like top 10 moments or whatever.
Yeah.
Like my mind is so riddled with videos of everything that I've seen from it. But like they did not do a great job of explaining that.
I think for some people it clicked immediately because Megan had no trouble understanding that. Like she was totally on board. And I was like, what? I was like, that doesn't even look like a spider. I was like, Vecna is a horrible artist. I was like, I was not supposed to make that connection. So yeah, I feel like for some people it clicked, other people it didn't. But yeah, that was just like a little aside there. But I'm like really surprised that you guys think Max is like dead because I thought she was still good to go. Like we were like seeing her.
Well, then there's the part where Elle can't find her in the coma as well, that she's like missing.
And I feel like she would at least be able to see like footprints running around in that water or see Max lost or something, but there is absolutely nothing. So that's why I think
I thought, she was still like chilling out in the snowball venue though. Like I feel like Elle's just in the wrong room. Like she'll go find her eventually is what I thought, but I don't know. It didn't stay with me, but
no, because they were in Vecna's like lair. Remember when he was like started to kill her? They were out of the snowball zone. They were in that same space that like shared like Vecna's, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought she like went back to the snowball though. She was like,
I need to leave early.
Yeah,
my mom's gonna come pick me up.
Mom, they're drinking.
Mom, I don't like it. Eddie brought drugs.
No, I don't know. I just thought Elle fighting Vecna thing, like could Mike have given her a little pep talk, like maybe just a smidge earlier? Like I was like, also, why does she need so many pep talks? Like, empower yourself, girl.
Don't rely on any man.
Yeah. The fact that also Mike was like, the best day of my life was when I found you in the woods. And Will's like, it's the day I went missing and my entire life changed.
Will's just sobbing in the corner with a piece of slice. Yeah, he needs better friends.
I agree. So then we thought they were going to leave him alone. I thought 63% chance of survival. You thought 89%. So you win another one. Yeah, Max. I don't know. We still have the letters. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing if they start out with the letters.
I didn't even think of that.
Right? But I thought 40% chance of survival. Brooke said 85%. Brooke specifically said that would suck if she died. That would be down 2 for the blended family. So
see, that's why I'm like, Mom does not deserve that pain. She's like, I don't know.
Did she love Billy though? Like, we're all kind of okay with that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I guess that was something that we talked about last time, that I was team like, I think that she did like Billy. And then this time around, we're like, no, she hated him and she did want him to die. I was like, oh, right on. Okay. I think I saw someone that was like, I love that Stranger Things didn't have like the 2 women like accept their abusers at all, which is Billy and Brenner. And I was like, oh, good point. I was like, yeah, I probably would have said like, I forgive you or something. But I was like,
Brenna
rock
was
on.
expecting this big like speech from her when he's only taught her like yes papa, no papa. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe teach her more words.
She's like, I literally don't understand what you just said to me.
Then 11, we thought there wasn't going to be a Stranger Things without her, so I said 96% chance of survival. You said 99% chance of survival. Nancy, we thought she was both going to survive at 79%. I thought that was so easy. Nancy's whole life just feels really easy for me this whole season of like, he just wanted to chat. Like it wasn't even like she wasn't marked for anything. He was just like, let's just talk. And then like she gets strangled and it's again not her doing that they're all released. I don't know. I just thought she had like the easiest time.
And Vecna captures her and he's like, hey girl, I just want you to pass along a message. Don't you worry. I know you got your Glock ready. But I will say, if I am someone in the Stranger Things universe, I am Nancy. Like I am not any other character. So she's my girl. I love her. She's great.
Who do you think you are, McKaylah?
Oh God. I feel like
you have Max vibes. You have Max vibes.
I don't want to be dead.
No.
Don't worry, you're just brain dead and blind.
And all of my limbs are broken. No, I could see Max. I feel a little bit of Argyle sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm an amalgamation of a lot of characters. I'm like the flesh monster who's composed of everyone.
That is a hot take. You're like, I'm actually the mind flayer when it's been eating human bodies and rat poison.
I'm the bats that attacked Eddie.
I see that for myself. Marriya, who do you think you are?
I think I'm Jonathan. I think I wouldn't know what to do in danger and I would just be taking pictures.
He's like, this is a crime scene, but Nancy's looking fine as fuck. But yeah, oh my God, we're dating, Marriya.
Oh.
We'll talk later.
But so Jonathan, we thought he was so far removed to die. So I thought 85% chance of survival. Brooke, you thought 70%. I did say, I was like, if he is going to die, it's going to be in an earthquake. And there was kind of an earthquake. So boom. Then Brenner, we both thought he was going to die. I thought 3%, and you said 36%. Steve, we both thought he was going to die.
Yep.
Do we think Steve should have died?
No, I was worried. But I mean, okay, like I said, I started off this pod being like, the Duffer Brothers need to be more aggressive, but not for my baby, not for my husband. So, I mean, I think it would be, he's such a fan favorite. It would be like a really big decision, and I can see it for sure happening since he's been a character, I think honestly, a character that's had like almost as much growth, like maybe more so than like everyone else. It would be like a good kind of ending to his character too. But
it felt like we were really building it up. Like it felt like they were like giving this whole backstory and talking about how much he's changed, and just kind of like, I feel like his arc is done. Like he's the babysitter, and I feel like he'll be nothing more than that. Even when he has his 6 little nuggets, he'll still be the babysitter. And I think that's the end of his storyline, and I don't see him making it through the next season. And I don't see Elle making it through the next season either. But
I thought this season did a really weird thing with like the rules of the way that this world works. Like I was like, oh, he's going to die because there has to be some reason for the Demobats. Nope. Like he's totally fine. They just put a little like shirt around him and he's fine. But then when Eddie gets attacked by Demobats, it's fatal. I don't know. I just thought that whole thing was like a little weird. Like there wasn't any implication for anything.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like a good like foil or whatever between the two characters. If we if we want to get like English class level deep, where like Steve is a popular guy who's always been surrounded by friends, and the only reason that he survives the Demobats is because his friends come and help him. And Eddie, the nerd, like loner outcast, is left like defenseless.
No, he has limping Dustin.
He has he has Dustin with a heavy limp and not very skilled in battle. But yeah.
And then Robin, we both thought she was going to live. I thought 90%, you said 86%. So there was a time, so London got the Stranger Things volume 2 earlier, and that was all over TikTok. And so I texted Brooke, oh, I think Robin's going to die, because I had read that she was going to die. Like I got the wrong spoilers, like that, because all these accounts were saying things like, oh yeah, I've seen it. And Steve has to choose Nancy over Robin when they're being strangled. And so I was waiting for that to happen and it didn't. And I feel like this happens to me a lot. Like in the time of like Tumblr, I remember I saw like a spoiler that like in Spider-Man Far From Home, Tony Stark was going to die. And I was like waiting for it. And I was like, are they going to do it in like the end credits? Like that's kind of a weird thing. But so I spent this entire like time thinking that Robin was definitely going to die.
That's so funny. Wait, why did they think did the British people get like a different version, like Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone? Did they have Stranger Things and no lesbian alive? Like,
well, they really said like no lesbian commitment. They said we're gonna wait until it's not Pride to release the second part so that none of the gay characters are happy. But I think it was just like people got the early version and I don't think it stayed up long enough for people to like actually watch it, but they wanted the clout of being like, this is what happened. So I think people started making up spoilers.
I think that's hilarious though. Like I would love to just start one of those, like a fake spoiler. I would love it. I think
You
it would
should do
be,
it.
like, so
Say
funny.
you got season 5, you got the leaked scripts, they accidentally sent it to your Gmail.
Listen, everyone just implodes. Everyone's dead. There's no season 5.
like I got it sent to a Vimeo. I got a little link here. Duffer Brothers exclusive. But
and then Argyle, we said both he would survive. We also said he wouldn't notice if he was dead. And I said 99% chance of survival. Brooke, you said 96%. And then Eddie, you thought he was going to die. And I thought he had a 53% chance of survival.
McKaylah, who did you think was going to die? And then
I had number 1 was Steve. I thought he was going bye-bye. I had Dimitri / Enzo, but if it wasn't Dimitri or Enzo, it was gonna be Murray.
Yeah,
so they're kind of interchangeable. This one's kind of out there, but Miss Kelly, there's like a lot of theories because that she's like connected to Vecna somehow because she's got like the keychain with the clock around her neck. And then I had Mike, and then I had my one winner, which was Brenner Papa.
Yes,
I did not do a good job. I was sitting here the day before it came out too. I was watching people, like it was literally like a draft and they were talking about everything. I'm just like, oh my God, they're making such good points. I was like taking notes and then I like formulated my Deadpool and I was just so wrong. I was so mad at myself.
Oh,
I just thought they were going to be bigger. Like I thought like it was like if I knew that it was going to be like the usual things, I would have guessed like Jason. Like I don't know. I just didn't even think he was in the running.
Yeah.
I also think it's hilarious that there's a bunch of people who did not realize he died.
Yeah.
And it was literally like right on the screen as it happened. And I remember just like,
I know that was the one death I like gasped. I was like, and then a little chuckle. I was like,
yeah,
laying in the wrong
like,
place.
Right, and it was right after Max, and I felt like bad for wanting to laugh, and it was like, this is wrong, but so right.
He just got dissolved. That was actually really satisfying. I love that ending for him.
They do a lot of justice to the bullies in this, so
yeah.
Angela, do
you think she was taking a trip to Hawkins? I hope she was. I think we talked about last episode this weird like focus on Nancy and Jonathan / Steve potential love triangle. And I'm still like deeply like dissatisfied with how they left Nancy and Jonathan. I was like, we need to go to couples counseling. I was like, what is going on here? I was like, you guys are just like not talking. And I thought the whole like 2 days later sequence with them like trying to make up the cabin nice for Elle was so weird. I was like, what is going on here? I was like, did everyone get in a big fight before they like shot this scene or something? Everything just felt awkward. And I was so confused. Like I really was like disappointed in everything that happened in that little sequence there.
Yeah, I also feel like the siblings are such a big part of this show. And I think Erica and Lucas did a good job of like, you know, you're always on the bench, but like you're still my brother and stuff. And then like we had Will and Jonathan's weird little Lego discussion. But I feel like Nancy and Mike, there's just like nothing there. Like I don't know. I think them together, I was like expecting like a hug or something, but it was like a family reunion you didn't want to be at.
Yeah, he's like a weird cousin that you don't really talk about. Yeah, that is no fault to Miss Nancy, I will say. I think Mike is just weird as fuck. Like, I think he's weird. I feel like, no offense to the actor. What's his name?
Finn Wolfhard.
And yeah, no offense to Finn. He's growing up a little weird. You know how like people were disappointed in how Daniel Radcliffe like looked when he was older compared to like how cute he was as a little kid? He looks like a walking weird skeleton. I don't know. He's like so tall and gangly right now with just like no emotions. I'm like, Mike, I don't like anything about you right now.
Oh my gosh.
No offense. I'm sure he'll be
no offense makes it better.
That is a hot take.
No offense, also Joe Quinn, who Brooke thinks looks like he's 40.
I just have very hot take. I'm just body shaming the cast now. Give me another one. I'll talk about them. But I think the only like questions left to me then, where's Owens? Like, where's my actual good daddy, Dr. Owens? Like, I don't know what they're doing with that whole government corruption plot, but I'm like, is he okay? Because he was being tossed around a little bit by the government. So where's Owens? Where's Enzo?
I mean, who's not being tossed around by the government right now? I mean, he's fine.
I know he's not seen the inflated gas prices, so he's doing okay. And then my only like weird question, which I think the Duffer Brothers said they were gonna like answer the like, why is it stuck on why is Upside Down stuck on the day that Will like entered it / seemingly is like falling apart or something. But how did Vecna turn it into looking like Hawkins? Like, that's what I'm confused by. So
I have a theory. What if his abilities are similar to, is it 8? I can't remember her number, but the one random like who can make people see things with her mind. I bet he's got some of that kind of ability too.
Okay, so you think that he okay, and Marriya, you think it's just, so you think if it's the like time control that when he entered it, the Upside Down was just in like a prehistoric Earth is just forming time?
Yeah, and this entire time he's just been like he's like,
oh my god. He's like, I need a digital clock.
I mean, last time I think I joked the Demogorgon like changed it so that it would look more like home, so that he would be like comforted. But now I'm like kind of like believing that, because I definitely feel like there's some kind of like parallel between Will and Henry, just based on like their art. Like maybe he's just like, ooh, another artist. Let's bring him in.
Another burgeoning artist. Gotta support him. Yeah, that is something that I've been seeing. I really want my boy Will, as soon as he entered Hawkins and touched his little neck, I was like, we're back, baby. I was like, yes, no offense. I was like, I think I texted Marriya. I was like, the Stranger Things writers like hate Will. Like, he's always miserable. But I love that for him. He plays it. Noah Schnapp plays it so well. So now when he's like in distress, all he has to do is think about Doja Cat.
Yeah. Are we team Noah Schnapp or team Doja Cat?
Noah. She's talking about socially unaware when you could literally, people think that she's blocked. And I think that's so funny that because when you search for someone and you're blocked, they don't show up. So that's probably like, if she was like looking him up, that's probably why she never found him. But I think it's so socially unaware of her to not know how to like find someone's social media.
But she was like saying that he was like a snake. I was like, this wasn't like HIPAA violation. I was like, what are you talking about?
She made it known on Twitter that she was like attracted to Eddie, and I'm just like, girl, this isn't a secret. Like, it's not like you leaked your nudes or something.
I know, it's not like anything remotely like private. She wasn't like, hey, so I just want to let you know that my mom is currently in cancer treatment at this location. He didn't screenshot that. She literally was just like, I like this boy, like what's his what's his number? So anyway, so yeah, I love Will when he's in Hawkins and he's in distress. And I am so excited to see what's going to happen, because a lot of people, like Marriya said, like see those parallels and think either that Will is going to have like this big kind of Harry Potter like foil moment where he's kind of had similar experiences with Vecna, but he's going to be like the goodness in all that like evil, or he's going to have an evil arc. I'm down for either, but I was like, I think I texted Marriya, I was like, Stranger Things writers hate Will so much. If he gets through this, he's dying of AIDS in the 80s. Like, he is. If he gets through this, that's his ending story, because they just do not give that guy a break. And historically accurate. But yeah, so those are my like wrap up points. I think one of my remakes is I need to talk to the like prosthetics costume department, because Vecna needed, I tweeted about this, Vecna needed some like V lines, just like the hint of a penis being there at some point. He had the longest torso. I could not respect him. Again, I'm body shaming Vecna. I'm like, his torso was too long, and no offense to Jamie Campbell, but the way that he would stand sometimes,
like the Grinch.
The very Grinch-esque, and I was like, what's happening here? Why? It wasn't like scary to me, like his face and his hands are scary, but any sort of long shot where we saw his full body, I was like, it was like Christmas time.
I saw concept art for his original stuff. The concept art was so much better than what he ended up being. Like,
it was so much better, and I was like, what happened? It got lost in translation. There's like one scene, go back and watch, when Nancy is just absolutely Second Amendment freedom of gun rights him. She shoots him in like the torso, and he literally goes, oh, like holds like his torso area. And I was like, what the hell? So that's my remake. It's just the lower like third of his torso. We need some sculpting there. We need some sort of hint of like a pelvis area.
David Harbour. He needs his regimen.
And then my other one, give Dustin some crutches. Let Erica do the planning and the decision making from now on. We cannot go wrong with her thought processes. And then the last one is we need to kill off someone bigger, but not Steve. I mean, it can be Steve if we have to.
Tigers can't be choosers.
But yeah, those are my final wrap-up thoughts. Did either of you have any final questions or possible remakes or stuff?
I just think that 11 is gonna die. Like, I'm calling it right now. She's going bye-bye. And that's really the only thought I have on this right now. Like, I don't know how they're gonna tie everything together with like the upside down coming into the real world. So I'm kind of just waiting it out. I'm holding my theories, but I love listening to other people's theories. But she's dead. She's gonna die, like taking Vecna down. He's gonna be the big bad. But that's my thought.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm like, I don't know. I'm so curious. Someone said there might be like a slight time jump, but I don't
It's going to be 88, 89.
So how many? It's going to be several years later?
So it's
86.
It's 86, baby. The actual tears. Yeah, so like 2 years later, I guess.
How are they going to do that? It feels like they can't And I thought like I had heard that there was gonna be a time gap, and I was like, no way. Because it feels like they have to start like immediately where they are right now.
It's already spreading. Like
Yeah.
the rot is already spreading. Like
they've actually stood in this field for 2 years.
Like, hey guys, let's sit down. Everyone do some deep breathing exercises. But that's really interesting. I'm really concerned with how they're gonna pull that off. But yeah. Any final thoughts, McKaylah?
I think it was a fun season. It was definitely different from, a lot of the other things that are out. I think it's just definitely a fun watch, a sad watch, but a fun one at the same time. I think there's a lot that this series offers to a lot of different crowds. Like, I love like the nerd aspect of it. Like, I love getting to kind of geek out just with all the characters and the music, especially. So fun.
I know. We kind of want to start playing Dungeons and Dragons. So are you in?
Yes, I thought about it. I just don't know how. And
I don't know either.
But like, it's so fun.
I feel like we ask like any man that has watched the show, and we will be told immediately. Real quick, how would you rank the season so far, from like your favorite to your least favorite?
Honestly, I think this one's my favorite. Like, volume 1 and 2 has been my favorite so far. My least favorite was where what's it? I can't remember which season it is, but it's when she goes and finds like her sister.
Season 2. That's
that one's my least favorite. But it's not that it's bad, it's just my least favorite compared to everything else. I think it goes 4, 3, 1, 2.
Okay.
I don't know. I just feel like it's not so good. Like, I just felt like that also stood out really strangely. So I'm hoping that she makes a comeback, or else why?
Yeah, I think people so disliked that storyline that we just erased that character. I would say real quick, and then we can jump into Marriya's final thoughts, that my order is 1. First season is my favorite. Like, I just can't get over how like new, like you said, how like new and how awesome that was. And I also just love them as little babies. So first season is my favorite. Third season, Russian plot, the mall season is my second favorite. Then 2, then 4. This one is my least favorite so far. Yeah, this one is my least favorite. So Marriya, any concluding questions or remakes?
I have some thoughts, and I will run through them very quickly. But so I'm rewatching season 2, which I will also say mine is 3, 1, 2, 4, I think is my ranking.
Okay.
But one of my favorite tropes is like the fact that everyone just goes along with what these kids name things in Stranger Things. So I like really wanted a moment where they're like Vecna, and he's like, I go by Larry. Like, I just wanted that moment. But yeah, so my parents have been watching it now. And my dad was very anti Stranger Things, but now he's like, let's go to Atlanta and be extras. So we've really turned a corner. But yeah, I think one of my main problems in this season and just overall is like how inconsistent it was. Like, the Demogorgons, sometimes they're immune to bullets, sometimes they're not. Like, sometimes they could just be sliced off. Like, I just felt like that whole thing was just very, very weird. Sometimes the air is toxic in the Upside Down. That bothers me like crazy.
I forgot about that.
Right? I was like, they should have brought masks or something. Like, I don't know.
Or was there PPE?
And like sometimes the demobats are lethal, sometimes they're not. So that just really bothers me. I also didn't fully understand why Eddie put on the mask, because he took it off right away once he gets into the little trailer. And it was just like purely for nostalgia, which I think was the real like strong point of this season, was they were like, let's just throw in all the nostalgia dialogue, which I think is why Eddie was such like a refreshing new kind of thing. And so that made me sad. But him holding pliers in his mouth was totally worth it and good for my fixation. It was not good for my fixation. I feel like we're not putting enough emphasis on how much morphine or whatever they're using to drug Elle should be used as a weapon for Vecna. Like, that's the only thing that works. Like, why aren't we leaning more towards that? That's what I would do. That's what Erica would come up with.
See, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I really wanted Elle to just like, I don't know how she can bring things into her little like mind palace-y thing, but I just wanted to show her to show up like eating pizza. I think that would have been just the best thing. But honestly, like, I mean, like it's not the same thing, but like I am very prone to like mosquitoes. So I always have like insect repellent on me. And so that's like, if you're constantly in a position where you have to climb into salt water, like I would start bringing a bathing suit places. Like that's just me. Yeah, the other things that I had is just like some theories. Like there's this idea that Vecna is not the most powerful person in D&D, and it's actually this red dragon, and that's what Will drew. So there's the possibility that that's coming. There's also
that would be really cool. I hope we see that.
There's also the Cass theory, which is like Vecna's right-hand man. So it's possible that like Eddie could come back as like a puppet for Vecna and then turn on him at the last minute. So that's an option. Someone was also saying that Vecna never moves his hand away from Nancy's head. So like, but if this was like all like a little dream, I would kind of be pissed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my little pitches were, I said Stranger Things, but the blood comes out of the other nostril. I just want to know how much that would affect things. I also think like we could have like just capsule episodes where we just have a whole episode of Steve Harrington crawling backwards so that we can just get those out of the way, because they were cluttering up this last episode, in my opinion, so that it can be like a number 8 episode, which like, honestly, if you rewatch season 2, you just skip that episode, you know? So it's just like, make that its own thing and let me have the opportunity to skip it. I don't know. I just felt like that was really
watch it a million times.
Could you imagine though, if they had like, when they were younger, when they first started filming, they had actually filmed them just all sitting around this table playing D&D.
Yeah.
And it's all like a game of D&D. Could you imagine? I would chills. I would be so mad, but I would also be like, oh, but I would hate that.
I would shit my pants.
Oh my God.
No, but that's the ultimate cop out though. That's too much. I like it, but it's too much. I can't do it.
I like that. Then I was also saying that like there has to be some reason for like how they're picking which of Vecna's victims to go after. And so I thought it could be set in current day, but it's like people who can't afford Spotify premium. And so it's like you have to running up that hill, and then it's like, want more music without ads, and that's when Vecna strikes. I think there has to be a reason, because I really liked the guidance counselor, like she's in on it thing, and I feel like that I didn't have any closure on that. And then the other thing, since it's like so big about the 80s, I thought it would be funny if it was set in the 1880s. And Will is just like in season 1 just like popping up fire and just starting fires in places, and instead of like the TV static, it's just like someone with a rainmaker just like trying to get Elle her little like static, and then just instead of like the little music thing, you just have a church choir just following Max around singing. And those were my things.
I like it. All right, well, if we want to plug our socials real quick and maybe talk for a second about any other shows you would recommend or anything else you've been watching. I've been rewatching Bones, would highly recommend. Have either of you ever seen that? I would recommend it. It's Emily Deschanel, Zoe Deschanel's sister without bangs. She's great in it. It's like a 25-year-old series at this point, but I've watched it. I have not ever finished all the way through, so I'm starting at the beginning again. And you can find me at B Reese Cup on Instagram. And a new thing since last time, we have our we hadn't started yet, Remake Hot Take TikTok.
Yeah, shout out to all of our followers for giving us the spoilers about Eddie. Love you guys.
But yeah, McKaylah, do you want to plug any shows you've been watching and plug yourself?
That's
Plug
totally-
yourself.
I'll do one of those things. It's totally unrelated to Stranger Things, but I'm fixated on Big Bang Theory right now. And I'm so excited because we're going to LA literally this week. And I just found out the Warner Brothers has all their sets. So we're doing the Warner Brothers tour. And apart from Harry Potter, I'm very excited for that.
Oh, though have you been on the Warner Brothers tour, Marriya? I went with Kirsten, I think. And we saw, they have the Big Bang Theory and they have the elevator, and you get to see like the studio audience, like where they sit and everything. But not to like spoil anything, but the elevator is just one scene with one little staircase, and they decorate it different in between, and they walk up the staircase, stop filming, walk up the next, like go back down, walk up again, stop filming, walk up again, stop filming.
Spoiled it.
You'll tell them that when you get to the studio, but you'll
You're
have
the
a
tour
really
guide
great
now.
time. Yeah, like actually stop. They have Stars Hollow, Gilmore Girls, so it was a really great tour. You're gonna have so much fun on that.
And then I'm thinking about oh no, this is like a side note. One of my friends is like terrified of like spiders, and I think they have like the Aragog there, right?
I don't remember Aragog, but they have a lot of the costumes and stuff. It's really cool.
But side note, regardless, I want to start watching Umbrella Academy because I've heard that's really good too. I just haven't gotten to. I'm watching like 4 shows right now, but I'm watching Power, which is also really good, but I can't binge it because I'm watching it with my boyfriend. And I just want to like watch every single second of it, but I just can't. And my social, I think it's DK Mick 13, DK MCK 13, Instagram. I think that's my Twitter too, but I don't really know. I don't use Twitter that much. But yeah.
And McKaylah's also an extremely talented graphic designer. Hit her up for any freelancing needs if she has time on the side. But yeah, thanks so much for being on. And Marriya, anything you've been watching?
I've been watching the new season of Only Murders in the Building since that just came out, which has Cara Delevingne and Amy Schumer, and I have thoughts on that. But but other than that, that's pretty good. Miss Marvel still, but that's like a weekly release, so can't binge that. Otherwise, just in my Joe Quinn fixation period. So Joe Quinn, if you're listening, I'm gonna bypass Noah Schnapp and just say I'm Marriya Schwarz on all platforms, Letterboxd, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Love you.
She's a great gal. Joe, you should go for it. But yeah, thanks so much for listening / watching. If you're a TikTok audience person, you should watch our full podcast on YouTube as well. But yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Yay!